All right, guys, so welcome to Empowered Elites team call for April 5th. I am super excited for our call tonight, but I just quickly want to cover some things and then see if anybody has recognition that they want to shout out before we get started. So first and foremost, you've probably seen it like literally plastered everywhere, but the All Access Challenge Pack is $160 this month. So you should be telling everybody and their mom about this because it is the most incredible opportunity. And launches like this are yes, Declan, are such an incredible opportunity for you to go and follow up with every single person that you've ever talked to before that has ever said no, not now, can't afford it, not ready. This is like a month where you should be killing it because this is something that can benefit anybody in your network, no matter what their goals are. So make sure that you're sharing that and keeping up to date. And if you missed it, I posted a video in the team page actually that is like a third-party tool you can be using to share that when you're having your conversations. It's a really great way to kind of explain it even more in depth for you without you word vomiting all over people. The next thing is the Success Club prize this month. If you missed it, it's a really awesome Team Beachbody backpack. So go check that out. Super Saturday is this weekend. And if you're serious about this business, getting to events is an absolute must. You have to put skin in the game and get to these events, get inspired, hear the stories, hear company updates. Who, just for a show of hands, is headed to a Super Saturday this weekend? Awesome. We have a lot of people headed to Super Saturday. Awesome. Okay, and then the last thing is if you are coming to Summit, which you should be, it's coachsummit.com. If you're not yet registered, you still can, and there is still hotel rooms available. I'm sorry that my child is growling right now. Mom, that's not growling. Okay. But I just wanted to say that there is an opportunity here. If you hit Success Club 5, both in April and May, with a combined 20 Success Club points, you'll be invited to the Summit Success Club party, which those are really fun parties to come to. So that is FAQ 4244 in case you missed it. And that's it for now. So does anybody have any recognition they want to shout out before we get started?
I don't know if Emily's on this call, but
Oh, you just muted yourself.
oh, sorry. Emily Minor, I don't know if she's on this call yet, but she became Emerald this week.
Awesome.
In her second week of coaching, so yay.
Congrats.
Can I shout out a recognition?
Of course.
I want to recognize one of my coaches. She's not on the call, but Haley Christian. I want to recognize her because I think it's important for you guys to hear. Late January, she was a diamond coach, and tomorrow she's going to be 9-star qualifying. And the reason I want to mention that is because and she's been a coach for 3 years. She was a diamond coach for 3 years. So just want to recognize that. I guess I won't say too much about it, but the biggest reason that a lot of us don't have the success that we want in this business is just between our ears. So I'll leave it at that.
100%. That's so amazing. Haley's absolutely incredible. Huge congrats, even though she probably won't see this. And if you don't follow her on Facebook, you should.
And Instagram. That's where she's getting all of her people from. And it's kind of obvious what she's doing. So watch what she's doing over there.
Definitely. Does anybody else have any recognition they want to shout out?
I'll just say really quick that I am loving what's happening on this team and Aspire Nation. Personally sponsored coaches of mine, you guys are crushing it right now. Danielle, I'm not shouting out your recognition yet because tomorrow it's going to be announced. But you guys are just on a mission right now, and it's so fun to be a part of. So keep it up.
On fire all across the board. And congrats ahead of time, Danielle, for whatever it is. All right, if nobody has anything else, I'm not going to waste any more time because It is such an incredible opportunity that Keith has taken the time out of his busy life to come and share with us tonight. We're so honored to have you. If you don't know Keith, you might know Elizabeth Hartkey. That is her upline coach. Keith Callahan, I am always so awe-inspired by you. You have the most incredible things to share. You are literally one of the most humble and wise leaders that there could be. And I'm just so grateful that we happen to stumble upon being placed in your downline and getting to learn from a leader like you. Keith, I asked him what I can share about him, and he is a 3-time elite coach, a $5 million plus earner, a father of 4, and he also runs a podcast now. So just absolutely incredible how he has used this opportunity to the fullest and literally probably changed more lives than he could ever possibly keep track of in a million different ways. So absolutely honored to have you on tonight, Keith. Thank you. And I will go ahead and mute myself.
Thank you, Dana. And all right, so are you guys ready for like a shitload of knowledge and like ready to here's my goal whenever I get on a call like this. If one person can have that moment that they're like, aha, and then a year from now, you can come back and say, Keith, on that call that everything changed. Like that's always the one thing that I'm looking for. So grab a pen and paper. I'm going to rip off just a couple of things that like a couple random things they're popping into my head, so I want to share them. The first is when Dana started talking, she was introducing the $160 promotion. Here's one of the most important things you can do in your Beachbody business as a new coach, as an emerging leader, and even when you become a leader of leaders. You want to run 30, 60, or 90-day campaigns. And what I mean by that is this business is built in 30, 60, 90-day spurts. Maybe you do 30-day spurts, 60-day spurts, whatever it is. The month of April, I would not talk about anything else except for that $160 all access challenge pack. Here's what a lot of people do. We've got that out, and then there's another sale, and then Super Saturday happens, and now we're launching this, and all of your friends and all of the people that are following you, they don't know, like it's just too much. But if I see over and over and over and over and over again that you've got this pack, and don't be icky with it. Like, don't just post up, we've got a $160 challenge pack, it's on sale. Like, create valuable content, but that's the theme of everything you're doing. Does that make sense? So super simple, focus on one thing. And that's for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years for your career in Beachbody. One thing. If you're promoting and you're pushing more than one thing every month, you're making it too complicated, and you're not going to be able to create something that your team can duplicate. A couple of examples of things that we like to do, I'll just rip through these. Like, we'll do an emerald push. So the theme of the month is emerald. Then we're running a diamond group. I've been running a diamond group for the last 2 months. Like, that's the whole entire focus. When a new program comes out, the entire team does the new program together. We all start getting results together, and then we push that out to customers. So it's single focus. Everybody's sort of marching. Everybody's going together. I wanted to mention that things that I am super passionate about right now that I'm diving into full force. I am putting a ton of time and effort into. I haven't started posting aggressively, but I think that Instagram is the hottest thing right now. I think that it's the easiest way to find, attract, and start conversation with new people. I think that if you haven't done an Instagram training, there's tons of ones out there, and your leaders can point you in different directions. But Instagram's very simple to get a lot of eyeballs looking at you in a very, very short period of time. So just wanted to, Amber's training. If you haven't seen that, I don't know if she was a guest speaker on the team or not, but Instagram is where it's at. What else did I want to share right now? There's a couple other things popping in. They're not coming up right now. So I want to talk to you guys about something, and I've never spoken about this topic before. And I think that a lot of people are going to go like, really? Like, that's what you're going to talk to us about? Because it's like so cliche, network marketing, beach body, entrepreneur type stuff. And I honestly, every time I used to hear about this, I would be like, oh, like, really? Do we really have to talk about a why again? And so for those who weren't on right when we were getting on, I took a little nap right before this call. I actually fell asleep with my son, and then I woke up like 15 minutes before, and this is what popped in. But it popped in a way that it's gonna really hit home, and it's gonna make sense, and it's gonna. I think a why that makes you cry, like all that stuff. I think that it doesn't make sense. I think that it's like, yeah, I want to pay off my credit cards. I want to be at home with my son, like whatever, like all of that stuff. But I don't know. So I'm going to share the way that it came up for me. But before I do, I didn't know there was going to be this many people on the call. So I got to switch one thing around. If like 2, 3, 4, 5 of you at not all at the same time, but if you're willing, just unmute yourself. And I want to know, like, what is your big goal in this business? Like your big scary goal, the goal that like makes you nervous, the goal that you don't want to unmute yourself and say in front of everybody else. So if a few of you are willing to do that, I'd just love to hear it.
Hey, I'm Sari. I'm a single mom to a 3-year-old, and I will set. I work in corporate America. I work for Deloitte, and I have flexible hours, but I'm always having to work again at night. And I can't imagine having to put my son in aftercare. I mean, my goal is like, I want to say 2 years, hopefully, like leave corporate, but I can't imagine my life now doing it after what I know and how much I love this business.
Sari, tell me, what is your exact goal? Like, what's your goal? Like, what do you have to do to do that?
I need to get coaches and keep doing what I'm doing. I'm doing a good job. I'm hitting SC 10 or higher every month. I'm just not recruiting people that want to do this.
That want to do the business?
Yeah.
Okay. How much money do you need to make if you're willing to share what rank, like a little bit more concrete?
100,000.
100,000 a year?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That was very brave of you.
I'm like, oh, it's going to be courted, and now it's going.
So what we're actually going to do is we're going to play this back to you every time you no. Anybody else willing to share?
I can share with you guys. So my husband and I are very much want to work remotely. We want to be able to go wherever we want to go and live and work from at any time. So the other day it was mentioned, if I can make $5,000 a week in Beachbody, he can quit his corporate job and pursue his entrepreneurial goals. It's not Beachbody. And we can go kind of take on the next step and live wherever the heck we want to live without being tied down to a job. So 5,000 a week is my goal.
I love it, Annalisa. Any brand new coaches? New-ish.
Maybe I've toggled enough to be new. I've worked the business, I guess, back and forth between being a hobby coach and an all-in coach for probably 1 or 2 years now. My kids, like I joked about it at the beginning, but they really are getting older at this point. So for me, I struggled a lot about 3 years ago. A really hard time when I split up with their dad, who's not really around anymore. So for me, showing up for them every day and being present in their lives now as they're teenagers is very important to me. And then being able to build a life for myself once they're gone, because right now it's just me, and that makes me sad. But this company and this corporation and this family and this team has given me something to work towards. And I've always loved to do volunteer work. And right now I work too much to do it, between my kids and this job and my regular job. So if I could make $2,000 a week, 2,000 a week, I can live comfortably and then volunteer more for abused and neglected kids is really where my heart is at. I did a lot of castle work for years, and I'm not able to do it anymore just because of time crunches. So
I love it, Danielle. Thank you for sharing. So we have, I don't know what the numbers are now, like 400,000 plus coaches, right? That's a lot of coaches. And then if you look at that, I don't know, what's there, 30 or 40 coaches who are 15-star diamond, maybe 50 or 60 coaches who are in the Millionaires Club, 500,000. Oh, okay, 500,000 coaches. So why is it that, so there's, say, 50, or I don't know, so let's just say, I don't even know, 30. So say there's 30 15-star diamonds, right? How many people have goals to be a 15-star diamond though? Probably a lot more than 30. Probably 100,000. What is it though? Like, why can some people do it? Because everybody's got the same business opportunity here, right? Everybody's got the same opportunity. Everybody's got the exact same training. Everybody's got it. It's a day and age where we don't live in something that you're born into it, and you just wind up being a king or a queen or something like that. Like, we're born into America. We're born as kings or queens. Like, we have it handed to us on a silver platter in this country. So why is it? And I really want to commend, I'm sorry, what was it? Is it Sari? Is that how you pronounce your name? Did I say it right?
Depends if you ask Dana or not. No, just kidding. It's Sari.
Sari. Okay.
Thank you.
So like Sarah. Okay. So,
Yes.
Sari, Annalisa, and Danielle, one of the telltale signs of somebody that's actually going to hit their goals is they're willing to speak in front of others in public about them. And so yeah, this call is supposed to be about a why, right? Each one of us has we have these goals, we have these dreams, we have these visions, we have this life that got tucked away and got pushed down. And maybe it happened in high school, and maybe it happened in college. And then we got in a relationship, we got married, we had kids, like whatever happened, right? Know that everybody on this call right now, like the reason you're on this call, the reason you're a Beachbody coach, I'm the guy that tells it how it is. It's because you weren't happy with your life prior to getting involved with Beachbody. That's why everybody got involved. That's why everybody coaches. And if you say you do it for other people, it's not true. You do it for other people because it makes you feel good when you do it for other people. Everything we do for ourselves. Mother Teresa was out there doing the work she did because at the end of the day, it made her feel good. That's what moves people. That's what moves us. And now we're all here and we want to be successful with this business. And here's some more truth. 3/4 of the people on this call probably, statistically speaking, don't shoot the messenger here, won't be on here a year from now. What's the difference? Like, why? And then another percentage are going to be leading calls like this for their team. What's the difference, right? Does anybody know why? I want to hear from a few people, and I'm really adamant on this. Why do people either hit their goals or not hit their goals? And you can type it in, or you can unmute yourself. But like, what's the real difference to people hitting their goals and not hitting their goals?
Consistency and fear.
Yeah.
They underestimate what it actually takes action-wise and emotional resiliency.
Yeah. When do you think that the 15-star diamond becomes a 15-star diamond? All right, I'll give you the answer. In a story. So for when I was growing up, I was in high school, and actually I think it was like middle school. I started chewing tobacco. And I grew up like a jock, and I started experimenting with things at a young age, and I got addicted to chewing tobacco, and all through high school and all through college. It wasn't bad, but it was like my thing that I went to bed with. Not bed, like I didn't do it and go to sleep, but like before bed I would have a dip, or if I was doing a long ride, I would do it. So all through high school, all through college, and then up until my early 30s, I was chewing tobacco. And every single morning, I said to myself I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was going to quit. And then every single night before bed, that was how I wound myself down. Everybody follow me so far? Like what's going on with this? Why is it that I didn't quit? It's not that I wanted to. And it honestly wasn't an addiction. It was a habit. And even with addiction, I think that they're easy to stop at a certain point. And I want to give you the answer to it. The reason that I actually quit was I was brushing my teeth at night, and from the front, my teeth were all clear, right? And I would brush my teeth, right? And somehow I was leaning down like that, and I saw like underneath the inside of my front teeth had a little brown on it. And that was like 8 years ago, and I haven't touched it since. That one thing, right, put enough fear in me. It showed me enough. Here's the piece. It showed me what I didn't want. That's all it took, right? I could have all the willpower in the world. I could have all the, do all the things. I never did but like people do all that stuff, right? The moment that somebody decides that they're going to do something, the moment that the 15-star diamond becomes a 15-star diamond is the moment that she decides that she's going to do it. Here's the catch. So here's the two things. Here's what's going to move you to get to your goals. Here's what's going to the difference between the people that hit them and the people that don't hit them. They have the ability to tap into inspiration or desperation. One of those two things, right? Your willpower is not going to get you to your goals because your comfort zone is always, always, always going to smash your willpower down. That's why we don't get our goals. It's because we depend on our willpower, which literally can kill people. I was inspired and desperate not to have brown shit on the inside of my teeth, right? That's why I quit chewing tobacco. I want to give you another sort of example. When I decided to really change my life, I used to go to these ceremonies, and I used to, so part of the ceremonies that we did, we would go off and we would go into the woods, and it was called Humblature, called Vision Quest, and one of the chiefs, it's a Native American ceremony, and the chief would take you off into the woods to a sacred place, and I would go out there, and it was a long, hard, challenging thing. We would be out there for 4 days, 4 nights, no food, no water, and just in deep prayer. So it's kind of like a meditation for 4 days or 4 nights, right? So what happens on these is the first day you would think is the easiest, it's actually the hardest, because you're like all up in the chatter in your mind and stuff like that. And what happens is there's a veil that gets lifted after day one, and your eyesight becomes clearer, your mind slows down, your breathing slows down. And for anybody that's ever done the ultimate reset, it's kind of like that. Like you start to get colder, like everything slows down, right? And up until this point, I was living a mixed life. I started doing a lot of spiritual things. I was doing yoga. I was doing these vision quests and going to sweat lodges and stuff like that. And I was praying about the future of my life. And up to this point, I used to have tons of anxiety. I used to have panic attacks, anxiety attacks, all this stuff. And I wanted to leave that life behind, but I hadn't fully left it behind yet. So I was going through this healing path and getting a lot of personal power, right? But I would still go back into my old ways. So I'm on this vision quest, and on like day 2 or 3, somewhere later into it, I saw clear as day that I could choose 2 paths. I could choose the path that my dad and his dad went down, a path of drinking and numbing out and depression and anxiety and all this stuff, right? Or I could choose a different path. And I saw it clear as day in that moment. And now all these years later, 10 years later, it was from that one point forward that I chose the path that I wanted to go down. That I became the man, the husband, the father, the mentor, the leader, like everything that I am now, right? The fear of becoming my father, and I use this very often, is so powerful that I'm willing to move through discomfort to become who I want to become. So write this down, guys. Whatever your goal is, you have to become the woman who can achieve that goal. It's not activities that are going to get you to the goal. It's not the hustle, the grind. It's the becoming the woman that's capable of achieving that goal. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Maybe? Y'all with me? 90% of your work in Beachbody, in network marketing, you're in the best industry in the world and the scariest industry in the world. Because you know what's going to get you paid? The level of your own personal self-worth. The more you love yourself,
development?
the more empowered you become, the more disciplined you become, the more true to your word, especially to yourself. That's what gets you paid in this business. It's not learning how to do Instagram, or it's not learning how to be a good salesperson or post this or post that. It's becoming the person that's capable of doing that. So here's what I think. Like I was thinking about it, and I was like, why is it that some people have the success in this business and some people don't? Why is it that I stopped chewing tobacco and other people just keep going and going and going with something like that? Why is it that some people quit smoking and some people don't? Why is it that somebody can have a disease that will literally kill them and they can't stop? There's a tug of war that's going on. And here's what I think: you need to find a why that has the ability to be more powerful than your comfort zone. That's what I think you need to figure out for a why. For me, not wanting to become my father allowed me to create a life to do, like, really to create a dream life, right? But if I just focused on creating the dream life, every single time I would quit because the dream wasn't powerful enough, right? The pain and the vision and the thought of living like duplicating the same life of my dad scares the hell out of me and allows me to walk through the difficult things. So we all have these, we're sitting here and I'm talking about your big, hairy, scary vision. I'm not talking about, I don't want you to be numb for the next 5 to 10 years. I want you to be inspired. I want you to be alive. I want you to be having these beautiful dreams, these beautiful visions, and walking through and creating that and manifesting it in your life. So if we're going to do that, what's going to come up? What discomfort, right? So this is the piece that nobody wants to talk about. This is the piece that we don't focus in on. What are you going to do in that moment? Because what are your things? So let's say that you're a brand new coach and your goal is to be a diamond coach. Okay, so your goal is to be a diamond coach. So now you have to go out there and you have to bring in 8 other coaches, and then you have to get 2 of those coaches to become emerald, right? Everybody follow me with that. All right, cool. So that's cool. That's your goal, right? And you've got all the motivation in the world. You're going to go out and you're going to do it, and you're going to do it, and you're going to do it. And then something happens in your life, and whatever your shit is gets triggered, and you go out and you drink, or you overeat, or whatever it is, like whatever your coping mechanism is, you instead of doing your power hour, you go to the TV, you turn on the TV, and in that split second, in that decision, that becomes a habit, and you stop chasing your goals, and you're not on this call a year from now. So if we want to look at like your why, here's the way that when I was thinking about this, and I was like, this is what I've done, and this is what so many other people that I know that have been successful in this, they either have, again, desperation. So I gave you 2 stories about about the chewing tobacco and then about becoming my dad. In both of those stories, my why, it wasn't like this big, beautiful thing. It was something I didn't want to happen. So you can use that desperation. And I want to give you another story. I spent a long time. Do you guys know who Bob Lucido is? He's my sponsor in this business. So the way Bob and I actually met, he's when I was telling that story about Vision Quest, he is what's called a Lakota Sundance chief. That's how we met. I started going to ceremonies with him, and I started going to ceremonies with him, and I started to hang around these ceremonies, and I started to notice that he carried himself differently than most of the men in my life carried himself. And I was really attracted to that. Not in that way. Like I was like, I wanted, Jesus, I'm getting myself digging a hole here. I wanted to become the type of man that he was. And we decided to do this thing for a year. It was called a student relationship. And here's how important it was. Here's how inspired I was. This was at this crossroads, right? Like, do I go and become my dad, or do I go down this road? Because every single one of us, I don't care what's happened in your life up until this point, you can be at that crossroad. Tonight can be that crossroad for you, saying, do I want to go the way Keith's dad went, or do I want to go the other way? Whatever your story is. whatever the thing that's keeping you mildly depressed, anxious, scared, fearful, living a life of mediocrity, not living that big, beautiful dream that's tucked down deep inside, that big, beautiful dream that you stuffed away in the closet because, you know, life got busy after high school and after college, all those dreams that were going to happen. Then you got married, then you had kids, whatever happened, and now you're not living that big, beautiful dream. So I made a decision, and I talked to Bob, and I asked him to commit to do this student relationship. And here's what that meant. For an entire year, I had to do whatever he told me and commit to that. Literally, whatever. And for that year, if he needed somebody to fly to, like some of the stuff, Keith, I need you to fly out to South Dakota, pick up this chief, and then drive him home. Stuff like that type of stuff. Keith, we're doing a ceremony on Saturday for 3 hours. Can you come Friday night, stay over, set everything up? We'll do the ceremony, stay over Saturday night, clean everything, leave Sunday night. But it changed my life. So I'm giving a little bit of an abridged version there. Was life more difficult then? In all honesty, here's the piece that I want to point out with that story. So we're either going to go through inspiration or desperation. Having support, leaning into your team is a huge thing for me in that story with Bob, like leaning into a community. It allowed me to change my life in that sense. When I shook his hand and we decided to commit to that for a year, there was no back door. And for a lot of us on this call right now, that back door is wide open. Because what do we have to lose in this business? You invest, like the biggest investment that you made was $200 or whatever the challenge pack was at the time. But you got a challenge pack and you got Shakeology. You have zero skin in the game. If this doesn't work out, oh well. Right? So when we have that, like, if it doesn't work out, oh well, we've got like that back door. We're not 100% committed. We're not all in. No wonder why there's so many people that don't have the success in this that they want. If you want to have the success that's deep down inside of you, first of all, I beg of you, please have the courage to look at that place. Please have the courage, whether it's in Beachbody, in your life, wherever, to find a way to get to the place that says, I can go this road or I can go that road. And I'm telling you, it's not that much harder. In a lot of ways, it's actually easier. Find your inspiration, find your desperation, and it's so funny. Dana just wrote what I was going to say. So every time you get to the point that you want to quit, you get to the point that you want to watch TV, you get to the point that you want to go out for drinks with your girlfriends, and not that that stuff's bad, but that you have the ability to turn to the emotional connection, the emotional piece that's going to be more powerful than running away from the discomfort that you need to walk through. Does that make sense? Because the reason that everybody that doesn't get their dreams, it's one word: discomfort. Ooh, I do this, it's kind of uncomfortable. Okay, I'm okay. Oh, do this. Ooh, that's getting really uncomfortable. Oh, they want me to do, I'm not doing that. Go turn the TV on, eat an ice cream, and then it's all over. That's how it happens. Dreams are killed by discomfort. Whether we call it fear, anger, resentment, guilt, judgment, whatever they are, Comparison, huge one, especially, I'm not going to be stereotypical, but for women, like it's like comparing yourselves to others, and men do it too. So when we talk about a why, looking at the bigger picture, look at it as an anchor, because you need an anchor to pull you through when your emotional stuff comes up and you want to run away, or your emotional stuff comes up and you want to run away. Is the best way to do it. What's running away? Numbing yourself through food, through exercise. Yes, exercise is another way of running away from it. Through, all these different things, through TV, through alcohol, through sex, through relationships, like all these different things, through just avoidance, instead of learning and growing through it. And here's the piece that, again, coming back to the why, coming back to the anchor, your discipline and your willpower are not going to be strong enough on their own. Here's the tools that you need in the end. You need something that really scares you, or you need something that really inspires you. And then you need somebody, because all the work that I did when I went through that year with Bob, none of that stuff I would have ever done on my own. I would have quit on day one. But I made a commitment to someone. There's 500,000 coaches out there. You know why? Man, I love when it lines up like this. Check this out. So I announced Haley, and do you guys know what made the difference for her? Last summit, she was introduced to this woman, Amber, who most of you guys know, and they became success partners, and they held each other accountable. 3 years she was a coach. 3 years hanging out as a diamond. 3 months, diamond to 9-star qualified. Because when we have somebody else that we're committed to, we look them in the eye and we say, I'm with you 100%. I'm in this thing 100%. Changes everything. So she had that beautiful vision. She had that dream. She had that life that she didn't want to go back to, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough until she had the support of another human being. Does this stuff make sense, guys? That's all I got. That's it for tonight. And I hope that, I think out of summing it all up, your future's decided now. The 15-star diamond that's going to get recognized next year at Summit, the work is in the decision that she makes now. It's in anchoring into a vision and a dream. It's in getting the correct support network around her so that she can walk through every piece of discomfort that comes up. I don't know if you guys had questions. I saw a bunch of things coming up as I was chatting.
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally, Serena. I do. I think that I think this business can be built in way less time than a lot of people think it takes, as long as you're extremely focused and extremely disciplined with it. But what happens is, so here's a perfect example. I have to meet up with people in the morning. I have 2 other guys that I meet up with every single morning to work out, because when I do that, I get there, we do the workout, and then we're done. I can procrastinate for 3 hours at home before I do my workout, right? Like sitting there, like surfing around on Facebook, messing around with the kids, so that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Totally want to, build in breaks, stuff like that. I'm a huge proponent of that. But be where you are. When you're going to do your business, do your business. When you're going to do your break, do your break, like that type of stuff.
Keith, amazing as always. Does anybody have questions for Keith while he's here? Take advantage.
Nobody with nothing? All right.
I think you rock socks off as always and probably have people in deep thought.
Yeah, it's like, shit, I shouldn't have got on this call.
I'll just make a point, Keith, that I had posted in the comments, but I can totally relate to having that kind of backdoor, like backup system and not putting your all into a business because you're
I
like,
remember that.
Yes, yeah. And when I left my job, I wasn't making enough with Beachbody to feel like I had replaced that and then some. It was kind of like I'm making enough to function, to survive. So I think kind of get it I'm not telling everyone to go and quit their job and put their back up against the wall, but I think if you kind of eliminate that, like you said, and just kind of know that what you're working for every day, put that work into your business, and soon enough you won't need that backup system or that backup job. But I do feel like it's a huge crutch for so many people, and I'm sure people on this call, because the majority of my team are working full-time. So it's something that definitely held me back, was thinking like I have a full-time income. It's not a big deal if I grow this year or if I don't grow this year. Whereas now it's more like I don't want to have to go back to work full-time. So I'm going to put in the work every day and I'm going to figure out how to do this, instead of always kind of being like, well, I missed that one, no big deal. or it's going backwards, no big deal. So I encourage people to kind of, like you said, like consider what it would do if you didn't have that backup system. How much more work would you put into this business?
Thank you, Annalisa. Serena, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
No, not at all.
So what do you do? Like, what is your work right now, full time?
Beachbody.
You do Beachbody full time?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I work at an animal shelter.
Okay. What are your dreams with it, and in your dreams for life? Like, not if you take what's possible. What would be the most amazing life right now? Like if you were living it.
Well, that's hard because I'm kind of anchored. I take care of my dad.
Okay.
So I have like no long-term vision like that. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like my anchor. So I'm kind of limited.
Is your dad in a hospital?
No, I live with him.
Okay. So dream a little bigger. Like, what if you guys were making $5 million and you could fly your dad in a private jet around to villas or something like that?
Well, I do have a big goal to take my family to Italy, where we're from.
What's the two things? What are the pieces that when you're sharing, what's the reservation that you don't believe it's possible?
No, I just don't have that vision. I've never, like growing up even, I've never had dreams. I know that's unusual, but it's just, that's the way I was.
No, I don't think it was. like
Never.
when you were growing up there, and like what are the things even now, like what are the things that you get really excited about that you want more of in your life?
Travel, but I see when I think of that, then I think of my dad. So it's like a barrier kind of.
Is it a barrier or an excuse?
Could be both.
A lot of times we'll look at my wife and I have 4 kids, 4 young kids, and we were using the kids as we were masking them as barriers when they were really excuses for certain things that we couldn't do. And I'm thankful for you like having this conversation. When we flip it and looking at it as like, is this really a barrier, or is the barrier just here? And if I removed that, then I have to actually make a decision. Then I have to actually get into the emotional part. But if I leave that there, it's nice and cozy like a blanket, and I don't have to make a decision, and I don't have to go anywhere. And not saying like your dad's health and you being there for your dad's not important. But why could you not travel and do that at the same time?
I guess I just don't know the logistics of it. And I could be using it as an excuse. It's a really good point.
You know what a really cool exercise is to you guys ever heard of left hand, right hand writing? So so I'm a righty, right? And this is the most powerful exercise. So you guys have probably heard about like your inner child and accessing your inner child. Here's why it's so powerful. So your inner child knows what she wants. Your inner child knows what those dreams are, knows what those visions are. You can ask your inner child. So put the pen in your right hand and ask that inner child, or put the pen in your dominant hand, ask the inner child. And then when you take that pen and you put it in your non-dominant hand, that child will respond to you every single time, guaranteed, no matter what, because you're taking it out of the automated brain and putting it into the heart brain when you switch it to that non-dominant hand. So give that a try. There's all these big, beautiful dreams that are inside of there. You just have to access them. And even Google and YouTube are such a cool thing. Like you could literally YouTube. This is the second time I've done that today. Literally YouTube or Google, like, how do I access my dreams? How do I access like what my desires? And you're going to get a million activities like this, but like, yeah, like let's unearth those things.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting up with me too, Serena. And thank you. That's like a lot doing it on a call with all these people.
That was awesome, Serena. I feel like everyone has that, but they haven't. Like, thanks for giving us that correlation. Like Serena has her father, but we have our other excuses.
That's what it is.
I have to add to that too, because this is just something that I've observed. Thank you for sharing, Serena. But I think that I was really naive to think that like once I got over my first like barriers and first self-doubts and like first things, that I would get to this place where I just didn't have those anymore. Or like I would get to a place where like there was no more limits, and it's just not true. Like they're always going to keep coming up in different instances, and we're going to keep having to learn that same lesson, like no matter what, until we really learn it and move past it.
Yeah, and it doesn't, that every time it comes up, it honestly doesn't get easier.
Oh, great.
Here's the fun part though. It doesn't get easier, but you become more empowered. And when you become more empowered, you have more control over your life, even though you have no control. You know, that
Yep.
being empowered, basically it's a it's a dance with your, you know, your excuses and your fears and your self-limiting thoughts and all of that. And when you start to get empowered over those is when everything changes.
Keith, I don't know if you saw in the comments, Megan's comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that because we talk about it a lot.
The last one, I'm trying to. I honestly believe that I'm like quoting my mentor. Do you guys know who Craig Holiday is? He was a mentor of mine, and he used to do this awesome call about like women's brains and men's brains and the difference between the two of them. Um, but one of the things that he said, like, and he was referring to women, is that a lot of times women just take on too much. So I really think that what my wife and I have done, and you know, we've got a busy life, but it's not busy at the same time. So we meet every single week, get like, no matter what, we meet for an hour and we pray together and really just connect in with each other on Wednesday mornings. So what that does is it allows us to identify what our high priorities are in life and put that to the forefront and schedule time for those high priorities. And really what we've found is there's a lot of stuff that the both of us, if we don't do that, and like a lot of times it's literally going back to people and being like, I told you that I could do this. I actually don't have the time for it, and like that type of thing. I've done that before. I've done it with calls like this where I've overcommitted with calls, and a lot of times I could just say, and what a pattern of mine would be was, I committed to these, I have to do them now, right? So there's a difference between being committed and being a person of your word, but you want to have that word to yourself first. And if like all the things that you're adding on, if they're not aligning with your goals and your visions and stuff like that. So I'm kind of rambling here, Megan, but what I would say to sum it up is, number one, first and foremost, be where you are. If you're on this call, don't be doing something else. Don't be on your phone texting people. Don't be, you know, whatever, like, do this call. If you're picking up your kids or you're doing something, be with your kids. If you're working your Beachbody business, work your Beachbody business. Here's one of the things that I really believe the time management and the feeling overwhelmed, it's because we're not present in the present moment. When you're standing in line at the grocery store, are you taking out your phone and like scrolling through it? When you get to a stoplight, are you taking out your phone and scrolling through it? When you get up in the morning before you go to bed, all of that stuff is literally sucking the life out of us. So, and you know, I'm saying all this stuff, it's a daily, like hourly, minute to minute thing with me. What's going to give you more energy? You get in line and you're standing in line and you're going to be in line for 5 minutes. 90% of the people around you are going to pick up their phone and they're going to start going like that, right? And you're probably going to do the same thing. What if for that 5 minutes, you just said a prayer, like wished someone well, like every person around you, look at that person and just be like, I wish you well. I wish you well. So like, think of how simple is that? And then you pay and then you check out. What state of mind are you going to be in at the end of that? So I probably totally didn't even answer your question, Megan. I'm sorry. If you have more specifics, maybe I can help with specifics, but yeah, you should never. I just saw someone wrote, Kimberly, you should not have any notifications on your phone. If you're going to build this business and you want a life, do not have any notifications on your phone ever. Because you also look desperate too when someone messages you and you're like, oh, you're messaging them right back.
Keith, can I know we're going long, but can I just ask you, say you're talking to coaches who have the big why, they have the big picture, they know they're all in, they dream big and all of that. The next step for them is that, would you say, daily behaviors and the compound effect of that? Or what did you, when you kind of were all in on this business and you knew why you weren't going to not do it, what was that shift, or was it a compound effect and just time that you're doing the right behaviors each day and it will pay off?
I'm going to answer it with a really personal story. So I told you guys that part about, over 10 years ago when I was having all that, actually it was like 20 years ago, like crazy anxiety, depression, and all that stuff. And for anybody that's ever been in a state like that, you actually believe that you're not going to be able to get out of it. Like you can't see your way out of it when you're in that type of state. And then you get out of it, and, it was work to get out of it. So about 10 years ago, that's when I connected with Bob and stuff, because all that happened again. Even though I was in that bad state again, I had gone through it once before, so I knew that I was going to be able to get out of it, right? With coaches that have all of the, like everything that you described, Annalisa, I believe that deep down inside, they actually don't believe they're going to be able to be successful in this business. And I believe that you have to have a blind faith in order. It's kind of like prayer, right? Like a lot of people want to have, like, you see someone with a connection with God, and a lot of people want that connection. And you can never have that without faith first. Like, it just doesn't work that way. This business is the same way. So whenever I have somebody that's in that situation, I really, really dig in one-on-one with them and find out, like, what are the pieces that what are the reasons, what are the things, what are those excuses that, and they're not surface, and the person may not even know them, what they are. But then, kind of like, in all honesty, kind of like, you being one of my personally sponsored coaches kind of sucks, because what I just did with Serena, like, that's what our calls are like for a half an hour. It's like getting kicked in the face for like half an hour, and then you're like, oh great, can't wait to talk to you next week. But yeah, I think that's the piece. It's the piece of those underlying limiting beliefs that we have to unearth those so we can move through them. And then even when you unearth them, you have to have faith. And then the way that faith increases, and the way that, you have the faith, you do the activities, you get a little bit of movement, you get a coach that signs up, you get this that happens, you get that happens, you get your first leader, and then that faith increases. And then, it's just, then the snowball effect happens. Everybody on this call, everybody in this network has the ability to build a big business. You really do.
Keith, I have a question.
Sure.
based on what you just said. So one thing that I am, I guess,
Who's talking? I don't see
struggling
any
with a
lips
little
moving.
bit. Megan.
Where are you, Megan?
Megan Levine. Hi.
I still haven't found you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, keep talking. Sorry. Oh, I see you now, Megan. There you are.
Hey there. So whether I'm talking to either a challenger before they've signed up, after they've signed up, or even someone that wants to coach, or maybe one day when someone is coaching, how to be a mentor to that person, call them out on their fear and excuses without offending them, without losing them, and inspiring them the way that you are so good at, apparently. That's something that I'm fearful of doing. And so how do you go about doing that?
So the question is like, how do we call people out on their shit without being afraid, like without pushing them away or like all of that?
Yeah.
I want to either push them away or have them grow through it. And I think it's tough in the beginning because you're like, but I only got like 3 people. If I push one of them away, then I only got 2 people, you know? But I think that's like, it's hard, but it's the second that you make that decision is when that's when you start to grow into a leader in this business. And it's the decision that I want to challenge this person to either grow through their stuff. Here's the place I want to get somebody at. I want them to say like, I'm comfortable here. Stop pushing me. Like, I'm just going to be the discount coach. Like, I'm not going to go that much further. And they're never going to say that to you. Their actions are going to say that. They're going to tell you they're going to do all this stuff and they're not going to do anything. So I want to get to that point because then I'm going to make the decision that we're not going to work together. Like one-on-one, I'll always work in group, but I'm not going to work one-on-one with that person. And you know, the other one is that they actually quit and they don't do anything, or they thrive. Like if I was telling that story about Haley, and you know, Dana introduced me as Liz's sponsor. When I say like we used to have these conversations, like they got pissed during the conversation and said, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with pushing buttons. It's almost like a good therapist, right? Like if I'm going to pay someone to go to therapy, I don't want someone to tell me how great I am and how everything's awesome. Like I want someone to call me out of my shit, and I want them to give me tools to move through it. So yeah, you just got to be okay with them leaving. And I had another coach who we knew each other really well. She got up to like 3 or 4 star diamond, and then she just got in a bad place in her life. And every time we talked, it was like negative. And finally, after like 3 or 4 calls like that, I just said to her, I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like we get on the call, all you do is complain about these other things, and it brings me down. And I was like, I love you as a friend. Like I'll be here as your friend, but I can't do anything for you with this business until you figure out, are you going to move through this, or are you going to use it as an excuse and just stay in this energy? And again, she got pissed. We didn't talk for like a month, and then she came back and built a business. But you have to have that. So here's the final answer to that. I love all my people that I work with, but I don't care if they're with me for my business. I care about them as friends, but I don't care about them as my business, because I'm going to build this with or without them. And and I just want to make sure I'm really clear with that. Again, it's not like this, you know, screw you, like that type of thing. Like I really care about these people, and I'm going to have if they quit, I'm still going to be their friend. But for my business, I need to challenge them and help them grow and call them out, and then give them the choice to either do it with me or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that it's probably a little easier maybe when someone's invested already in a program and they already have a desire, as opposed to like trying to bring someone, convince them that they can be a challenger and they can do this, and get them to get
Oh, you're
over that
talking about
fear.
I thought you
Well,
were talking about somebody that was
well,
already a
anyone.
challenger or coach.
Well, anyone. I mean, I think they're all kind of similar in that way. And I guess the other part of my question then also is if you have tools on like things to read or ways to instruct myself on how to be like a tactful mentor. Because I feel like what you did with Serena, with like you asked her a lot of good questions as opposed to just calling her out and being like, well, this is what I think. You weren't like a jerk to her. And I think that that's a skill.
It's getting late, so I can't answer with a story, but I'll give an abridged one. One of the ceremonies that we do for our spiritual path is called a TP ceremony, or an overnight ceremony. So this is a ceremony. It starts when the sun goes down and goes all the way through the night. And when the sun comes up in the morning, it ends. It's inside of a teepee. There's a fire in the middle. And anyways, there was a young guy in it, and young, uneducated guy, probably in like his early 20s. And he was made prayers for like 5 minutes. And then at the end of his prayer, he apologized, and he said, I don't speak all that eloquently and stuff like that. So, I apologize. And to me, it was the most beautiful prayer I had ever heard, because every single word that came out of his mouth wasn't from his head, it was from his heart. And I honestly believe when you're talking to someone, if you speak from your heart, you can't go wrong. And so like we can make life way more complicated than it has to be. How do you mentor people? You speak from your heart. You speak truth into their lives from your heart, and you do that fearlessly, And then back to your other point, I think two things with when you're talking to someone. I think the first thing is don't try to convince the unconvincible. Like if there's somebody that doesn't want to be convinced to sign up for a challenge pack, like don't try to convince them. The second thing with that, here's the question, whenever somebody's going to do something new, they're going to sign up as a coach, they're going to sign up as a customer. Here's the two questions that you need to answer that they're never going to ask. The first question is, will this work for me? Whether somebody's signing up as a coach or a customer, that's the main question that's going through their head. Will this work for me? And the second question is she the right person that can help me achieve my goals? It's the only two questions you ever have to answer. All the other like money and stuff like that, if they knew that it was going to work and you were the right person to do it, money's not an issue, time's not an issue. All those things that get brought up, those are the two real questions. So just think about that. Like when you're talking to people, always keep those two questions in the back of your mind, because I can't afford this. What she's really saying is, I don't know if this is definitely going to work for me, or I don't know if she has the ability to help me to get to my goals. Make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. And I'm thinking about someone specifically who, for that first question of will this work for me, she basically flat out said to me, I don't want to set myself up for failure. And that's fear, obviously, but how to talk someone through that when they're in a place where they don't feel motivated and they're maybe depressed and they feel uncomfortable, it's, that's, I think, our biggest challenge.
Do you know 100% that if they follow our program that they're going to be able to be successful?
Definitely. Absolutely.
So you just need to exchange that enthusiasm. So here's another thing. All that sales is a tagging of enthusiasm, a tagging of belief, a tagging of whatever word you want to use. That's it. Like you're taking it.
Such a hard balance, though. It's such a hard balance to like convince someone. That's the wrong word, but to express to someone my passion about something and my belief about something without making them feel like I'm trying to sell them. You know, even if I have it like in my heart in a good place.
Is that your excuse? Seriously, look at that. Because that's like in your mind that this is a hard balance. I don't think it is. This company changed my life. It changed every single aspect of my life. And when I'm going to tell someone about it, it's a freaking gift that I'm delivering to them. It's not me trying to sell them something.
And I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
But
see, I have the doubt that the other person is going to trust me. That I know that they know and they like me, but do they trust me to be that person for them? That second question that you said. So bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Deep thoughts. Thank you.
You guys, I would love to stay on, but I have 4 kids that get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So
Thank you so much, Keith. So many incredible takeaways and truth bombs tonight. Thank you so much for staying on late too.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Unmute yourself and say thanks.
You. Look what I found, Keith.
Thank you.
Oh, is that
Yes, it's the left hand lady. I just found this. I've never read it. Thank you.
You'll love it.
Thanks. You're the best.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.